Why, hello everyone. It would seem that I've been busy as of late. Now, I do believe I've been working on this project for at least a month, and it has gone wonderfully. Let me go upstairs and show you what I've got first. Now, in version 1.3.x, you can finally have access to villagers. But villagers do not work the same as in modern Minecraft, or even in versions of Minecraft that much of the technical community would be familiar with. Take, for example, this, uh, what are you called? Librarian. He's got two, three, four, five, six trades, and he can have 8 trades. He's never going to be a perfect one, at least from my tests. But if I can unlock his paper trade again, which shouldn't take too awful long, then I can get to actually talking about him. Actually, let's see here. Do you have your paper trade? You don't have your paper trade. Okay, I have to actually unlock it again. Now, I don't know the exact timings that are necessary. I was under the impression that it was only like 2 seconds, but I've actually found that it's a lot closer to 6 or 8 seconds, uh, depending on something. I'm not quite sure, but his particles seem to determine a little bit more of when he ends up having something unlock, more so than just a simple timer. And as each of these will unlock, I'll eventually end up finding the perfect villager, which is going to be very difficult, but it's not impossible, and almost any villager can become perfect. Now, over in here, I've got a little bit of a book to help me remember everything. Now, according to this big book of trading, the 1.3.x exclusive rare is going to be the 19 to like 29 paper trade. And then before the Bountiful update, we've got cooked fish from 9 to 12 as a trade, which is actually quite nice, as well as apples from 5 to 8, which is +1 from after the Bountiful update. And then one thing that I really want to keep my eyes open for is to attempt to run 14W02A, because in that version the cleric can apparently buy a pearl. Now, in 1.3, trades may be deleted when they've been used to the point that they've expired, and this can be exploited to make a blacksmith with all diamond trades in early slot for easy access, or for placing a trade in the last slot. Now, in almost any version of the game, it would seem that trading with the last slot has a chance to reactivate or any disabled trades, or unlock new items. Each trade starts with 8 uses and gains 2 to 12 new charges when the reactivation condition is met, which means that I think a reactivated trade can be used between 3 and 13 times. Now, when trading for enchantments before 1.8, you should actually use a little bit of caution, because it seems that a cheaper trade might overwrite the old one even if it's not as useful, although you might be able to bypass that with nether portals. And then I've also written down basically all of the trades, pre and post 1.8, so that I have a good list of what gets better, what gets worse, and what roughly stays the same. And one of the things that I'm definitely, well, have been definitely keeping my eyes open for is a blacksmith that has decent diamond gear. Because I remember on several old servers, and one in particular, that was something that people were willing to go through any amount of effort for, waiting months trying to get this rare and precious blacksmith that they would keep almost like a treasure. Now, I probably won't be able to actually make use of such a blacksmith until the point in time that I'm in like 1.4 or 1.5, because at that point in time, the trades that he gets will more or less be set in stone. but there's a good amount of really nice stuff that I can get. Now, for actually getting emeralds, it's generally understood that the librarian might be the best up until after 1.8, where the farmer takes the lead, and that's primarily because of that paper trade, because it's one of the easiest things to farm. Now, as for clerics, I love how they've done them before 1.8 because they can give 8 enchantments, both diamond and iron, on the sword, axe, pickaxe, and chest piece, which means that you can actually take an almost completely worn out pick and go and enchant it, and it'll renew all of its wear and tear, which is actually quite impressive. So if I could only find one of them that was looting and cheap enough to where I wouldn't have to worry about it being overwritten by a new enchantment, that would be ideal. But I don't know if I'll end up actually getting so lucky. But until then, the primary thing that clerics are good for is going to be that glowstone and redstone, because they're ever so precious, and I need mountains. I have needed mountains of them. I've gone through too much of it, and I still need more. I still need so much more. Now, farmers will eventually take the lead, but as you can see from their current list, they're not really all that great in this version. The best trade that they've got is probably that apple trade, and the only real thing that you can trade for emeralds from them is probably going to be the raw chicken, being the least processed of all things. Now, as for that cooked fish trade, I'm looking forward to it once I have access to hoppers. But until then, the cooked fish trade is little more than, say, for example, the same as the wheat trade, where I have to plant the seeds manually, which is quite a pain in the butt. But of course, they become amazing traders after 1.8, because that's when you get access to that pumpkin and melon trade, which are easily the best in the game. And then, of course, the final option is going to be the butcher. He's got quite a few in the way of interesting trades, and that saddle trade will stick around on one of his forms. I can't remember particularly which one, but it's a little bit more expensive. And the only thing that I didn't write down was inside of the farmer pre 1.8, he also has a flint trade. And this arrow trade, although it says 9 to 12, currently it's only giving 5. Although any that I happen to have around will be improved, so long as I work on them a little bit before I end up getting into the Bountiful update, which is quite nice. So I'll set that aside here for now. Now, this guy will never be quite perfect, and it's all because of that gold trade. Doing my best to try and wait just a little bit in between the trades. Now, that gold trade, I don't know the exact numbers. It's either .00011 or it's .2666, because it's like an 80 something. Let me see here. I've got it written down somewhere. Got it written down. There it is. It says it's an 83.9531 percentile chance that it'll be the last trade that he gains, which, I mean, you would almost think that that means that you've got nearly a, 16% chance that it shows up before you end up maxing him out, but I don't know if I believe those numbers or not, because those numbers are not reflecting reality. Now, the more items that you unlock for these little guys, the more and more difficult it gets to actually unlock the next level, and that's partially because of the way that they unlock. Each time that they do, they basically compile a list of everything that they can qualify for, and they'll randomly choose from that list as to what is the next thing that they get. Sometimes they might get extremely lucky and manage to find a new trade that's cheaper than their old one. Say for example, oh, or actually I should say better than their old one. Say for example, apples, I might end up having it improve all the way to 8. Or with paper, currently I might have it decrease all the way down to 19, but of course that all changes when it comes to the idea of the enchantment trade, because that one doesn't necessarily look for something better, it just looks for something cheaper, and that may end up being absolute trash, like having something as valuable as infinity turning into something as useless as fire protection 1. Now, I am waiting significantly before going and retrading with him, and that's primarily because I have the feeling that even though he's supposed to get his trades a lot sooner than however long I'm waiting, that I've been probably rushing things considerably. Well, I'm still having just as bad of luck as I always have. But of course, that doesn't necessarily matter when you're working with something like this, because all that you really need is time. Now, I could burn out any one of his current trades in order to open up something new, and I really should probably do something like burning out this glass trade, just for the purpose of making it to where, from buying this ludicrously expensive clock, I'll have an increased chance of getting anything but the clock. Now, I really hope that he unlocks the gold trade, and if he does, I'm probably going to jump for joy. But if he unlocks anything else, anything, it'll become the new final trade, and it'll reduce the overall amount of emeralds that I'm having to spend. Because as you can tell from my storage, I have been doing a lot. And soon as I manage to, God, if I can just, I may end up walking away from him and coming back later. I very well may end up doing that. God, I think I'm going to end up doing that. Let's see here. Are there any other portions inside of my notes here? Cleric buys Pearl. Ah, 1.4.2 is 12W32A. That's when the librarian adjusts the paper trade to 24 to 35 from 19 to 29. And really, having that 19 paper trade, or probably even better, a 20 paper trade, is so useful. But you can never have one of those special paper trades end up becoming a perfect librarian. And the reason for that is because of that enchanted book. It's going to always be the, well, the Achilles tendon that you're working with. Because it, very specifically, is going to end up becoming the last slot if you've already got 8 trades on your villager. But if you purposefully burn out the paper trade before updating, and make sure that whatever's in the 7th slot happens to be something decent. Yeah, I'm coming back to you later, buddy. Oh, let's actually go down a level. But you can actually reorder your trades according to your wishes, because we can see that on this side and that guy, I think, that I haven't done much work to the, what's it called, the trades, and a few of them were only just stuffed down here because I wanted to make sure that I had enough to actually work with. Oh god, that diamond trade is absolutely terrible. I hate it. If it appears in the first slot, you're in luck. If it appears in one of the later slots, you might as well just kill the dude and end it, unless of course he happens to have, like this guy, a bunch in the way of the diamond trades already. because hoo boy, does it ever cost a lot once you start getting down to these last few. Now, that's where I get to show. Oh, wait, hold up here. What about you? You've got a couple of good trades. A few good trades, actually. Now, this one here, he's my best one. And this one here, I don't think I'm going to be trading with him because I've purposefully gone and made sure that, yeah, he was one of the ones where the diamond trade was actually relatively early, so I only had to use it once, which was great. It really was, because oh boy, do I hate spending anything on that trade. But you can end up buying out some of the iron trades to go and reduce the list down and put all of your diamond trades in better slots. Now, on him, I really spared no expense. I must have spent 3 double chests of emeralds, but he was worth it because he had the diamond trade in the first slot, and his very next one was the what's it called, the gold trade. So I basically just bought out all of his iron trades until I ended up having all of the emerald trades in first, and then very carefully bought out everything. Wait, hold up here. Is that all the... Oh, good, good. I was gonna say, no, I didn't have the shovel in there. But I very carefully bought out everything that he had, and the only thing that he lacks is going to be the chain helmet. And oh boy, have I burned a lot of chain boots, just because I don't feel like taking the time to store all of them because they're a little bit useless. And then of course in here is my love and joy. Now, each of these guys, there's got to be like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so there's 15 of them now, and all 15 of these have 7 trades. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And each of theirs, the last trade right now is the paper trade, which means that none of these guys have the gold trade. They're technically useless. The gold trade might very well be 1 in a million, or it could be 1 in 500 if the wiki is correct. But either way, it's so far up there that I'm considering moving all of these dudes with 7 trades down by a level and just running the farm more or less non-stop until I get luck. And speaking of luck, that's where these two come into play, because these guys, I will not trade with them. They've both got the gold trade relatively early. This guy had a glass trade right before the gold trade, and this one got the gold trade right in the second slot, which is absolutely amazing. Now, they do not have a paper trade, because I purposefully burned out the paper trade. And I did it while trading, and then I also burned out the glass trade, and then traded for it and got it into the last slot, so that I could make sure that it was the one that would never disappear, or run out. And each of them, I'm going to be saving them until I update and until they can gain the enchanted books, because if I get lucky, I'll unlock the enchanted book before I unlock the paper trade, which means that the paper trade will be guaranteed last slot on the both of them. But it does mean that the best paper trade they'll ever have is going to be 24. Whereas someone like this guy already has a 19 paper trade. Now, I am considering the idea that I should try and get one of these guys, probably to have the 19 paper trade, and then burn out its glass slot, and then leave it to where after I update, I can go and purposefully trade, hoping that I get the enchanted book before I get the glass. That way the glass ends up the final trade that reactivates all of them, and he'll have a slightly cheaper trade, which will make him a real novelty. Oh, right. And then of course, when it comes to okay, good. I made sure to seal them back up again. Now, when it comes to those trades, I did mention the numbers 8, 12, 2, 3, and 13. But I do believe that if you actually count what that guy has 20. Let me choose a 19 paper trade. Oh, you have 19. If you count how many emeralds I get, you'll notice that I get quite a few more than just those 13. And the reason is because I was wrong when I thought that it was only in a snapshot that so long as you didn't close this window, that it would never end up using up the trade completely. And this is true for any of them, no matter which slot it happens to appear in. And it's actually how I've been purposefully burning out the trades while making sure to keep my emerald count relatively high. Oh, in fact, I think that was just it right there. I think that it just burned out. Either that or my eyes were playing with me. Right then. And even though it technically burned out, I know that he didn't get the uh, gold trade because all of those actions counted as only one single trade. Which means that, of course, if I go through here, I was actually hoping I would be wrong and very happily, what is the word? Surprised. Now, I've actually got quite a few of them around. Which one are you? Is it you? I want to say it's you. Is it you? No, it's not you. Nope, not you. Ah, it's this one. I am looking forward to that efficiency 3 unbreaking 3 trade, because since it's 2 emeralds, there is the tiniest chance that it might be able to survive any amount of trading. I don't know for sure. I'm going to be doing tests with a different one because I only unlocked. Oh god, yeah, after getting the projectile 3, of course I only unlocked him that far. Although I could have sworn that I had a projectile 4 around. Oh, and then the reason that they all keep going into lovey mode is because there's a village nearby from which all of them are breeding. Where is it? That's very nice, but it's not perfect. What were these 3 again? Oh, that one's actually rather nice. I could use it for picking up bookshelves if I... There's that projectile protection 4, but it's for 3 emeralds, which means I probably will end up losing it if I use it too much. So I probably want to keep that around for the time being, just in case, so that I don't end up losing... Oh, there it is. There it is. That one's a very good diamond axe. Although Silk Touch isn't necessarily the greatest enchantment to have on an axe, it is a very nice one. Now, of course, up here at the top, I've got a handful of villagers. It all started with 2, which I basically had up there, and just above him there's 10 doors, which is, just enough to support a little, about 3 1/3 of a villager. So he ended up basically breeding up the entire colony back when I was still in 1.2, so I have never traded with him. And I probably should eventually make my way up there and find out what he's got, because for all I know, he could be good. Let me check with you one more time. I'm very tempted to think that I'll end up getting lucky. Although I should just send him back downstairs. Whatever. If I get lucky, I'll find out once he's downstairs. Ah, right. A handful of basically junk that I use for testing what is the word? The priest trade. The purple robe guy's trade. That way I can try and use their trade at least once for the purpose of unlocking something else. Although if I run into something that's absolutely fantastic, I may end up just saving him back and not unlocking anything, and locking him away inside of a deep dark closet. Now, they do take fall damage when they go down a shaft like that, and you would think that landing on a rail is enough to prevent them from taking that fall damage. However, if he were to actually fall off of the rail, oh god, he's going to be moving around like crazy. Then if I break the cart, he won't take the fall damage, which means he'll survive. But if he comes off of the rail, yeah, he's running around like crazy. I have to go turn off the breeder so that I can be able to move him. That's one of the small problems if I have the breeder turned on, then any new ones that I put down there will basically run around like madmen until I turn it off, and then he'll grow still again for me. Come along. Come along. Oh, for love of... No! Let me try harder. I have to communicate with him telepathically and just beg him, stop doing this to me. Please. There we are. Now he's nice and safe inside of here without me even getting upset and punching him. Have I traded away all my paper? Yes, I have. Now, to help me count, I've left a bit of a heartbeat up here. That way it'll pulse away as long as I need something that actually keeps time for me. Oh. And then speaking of time, so much time was spent on this, and so much redstone too, and even more once I had updated, because I think I only had 8 out of the current 12 layers completed before I updated, and I was considering staying there, and then I realized that I had a lot of empty room that I wasn't planning on making use of. So it is impressively large. Now, if I remember correctly, I think that there's 18 lanes. Ah, and this is of course that village. There's a couple pistons above it, since they're light transparent. That way, when that guy's up and in range, he'll turn on breeding mode for the entire farm. Now, I do believe that there's simpler ways to go about building this pulse generator, but let's see here, where does it connect into? It connects into this one. So I actually want to be reaching upwards to push the one above me. That way I can Oh, whoops. Well, let's just do this one instead. Huh? Hold up here. Oh, right, of course, because I have them all primed. Let me run one from the opposite side. The reason why I've been priming them with a lever instead of just activating them with a button straight up is mainly because I need it to, I need to have some way of knowing which ones I've used and which ones I haven't used just yet. There we are. And then, of course, when I get down there, there'll be a full inventory waiting for me, minus like 3/4 of a stack, something like that. Now, it looked a lot more impressive before 1.3 because they weren't stacking up, but it's so much nicer now that it's in 1.3 because it's not so many entities, as 1,000 entities was a pain in the ass. Now, I suppose I'm gonna go ahead and get busy with trying to unlock a gold trade. It is kind of nice, a little bit of a heartbeat keeping me going. Oh, whoops, one more. There we are.
They gave me a test to make me the best that I could be. They knew all along that there was something wrong with me. We picked out a spot and made a hole. Wire and glass and stainless steel. Now I can imagine how I'd feel. Got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new artificial heart. It's not a real heart, it's not a real heart, it's not a real heart, it is a real artificial heart. There's blood on the bed, but here in my head I'm feeling fine. It's easy to sleep when I'm not buzzing all the time. So funny the way I was before. Once I was blind, but now I see. Once I was him, but now he's me. Got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new artificial heart. It's not a real heart, it's not a real heart, it's not a real heart, it is a real artificial heart. You're at me again, I nod and pretend to think it through. I don't need to think at all if I don't care for you. It's not an emergency for me. I look at the walls and they go clear. Cover my eyes and disappear. I got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new heart, I got a new artificial heart. It's not a real heart, it's not a real heart, it's not a real heart, it is a real artificial heart.
I do believe that I am almost done for the moment. Now, I'm not sure if how well the recording will have captured it, but it would seem that I basically captured lightning. Now, I've always been told that old phrase, there's statistics, damned statistics, and lies. And I don't know if this is 1 in a million or 1 in 500, but I actually unlocked the gold trade. So immediately afterwards, I made sure that the glass trade was the last one available, and sealed him away, because I will not be touching him again until I update to the version where I've got enchanted books available, as that gives me at least 3 chances at getting someone perfect so far, which is better than I started. Now, what to do with all of these goodies? What to do indeed. I do believe that it will be almost simple for me to answer. Nice little heartbeat keeping me going. That should be sufficient. Do you know what I'm gonna do yet? It's simple. I'll be heading into the darkness soon, so it means that I've got to bring a light. If I can find someone who has one for me. You've got one. So I'll burn you out. Just like I'm almost burned out, because that took on the verge of 2 hours before I finally managed to unlock the final trade. Now, across the entire farm, there's easily a good, let's say, 10k sugarcane, which is actually 20k sugarcane. Let's stop that for now. So then, I would say that it's time for me to head into the darkness. Hope that you have a good day. I'll see you next time when I'll have something even more interesting to show off. Something that I'm even prouder of than this. Right. Did I bring a boat? Surely I have a boat. Knowing my chances, my boat's been struck by lightning. Oh, hi. And it would seem that was no joke. My boat has been struck by lightning. Am I a faster swimmer than you? Yes, I am. Onward into the darkest of nights. Oh, right. I should at least show where this place happens to be. Just for the 1 or 2 persons who are actually interested in that. Oh, and there's a little sign. Just outside of far render distance for this. In fact, that's where I got the originals. The originals that I stored inside of here, and later on moved over there. And then later on stocked up the iron farm with. I brought them back to the beginning, so that they could be somewhat near the original first village on the, world. One that I didn't even know would exist, if it wasn't for the fact that I was using a backup and looking around in Spectator. On that day, I do believe I was looking for mob spawners. Found something better. So then, that's actually where I'll call it quits for now. Take care. Time for me to recover. I have a big day tomorrow.